guys, happy Wednesday. I don't know where the week goes sometimes. I feel like 2 seconds earlier it was the weekend and halfway through the week. So halfway through the week for me is day 2 of doing this juice cleanse, which, like I said, not nearly as difficult as doing a 45-day juice cleanse. But when you work in a restaurant, as I do, and the first thing that happens to you in the mornings is your pastry chef is baking fresh baked brownies and tiramisu, and these massive bowls of stuff that have to be eaten by people are sitting in front of you all day along with the fresh baked bread. It's freaking torture. It's literally this mental game that you play with yourself that's like, you're not hungry, you don't need that, but like every part of my soul was like, fuck, I just want to finish that entire bowl of brownies. And I had to stare at it all day yesterday, which was pretty damn painful. But like I said, the hardest part is the mental game that you're going to play with yourself. It's not so much that you're hungry, because you're not, and it's not that you don't have any nutritional value, because you do. It's mostly that every part of your soul thinks that you need to eat things and have things. And of course, it's all the things that you have to say no to are being presented to you. It's like this nasty little game of willpower testing. So instead, I did not eat anything, and I've been crushing green juices, which, if you think this looks appetizing, it probably tastes as good as it looks. But that's not to say that it's not horrible. It's literally not. It's not so bad. This one in particular is a blend of celery, cucumber, Swiss chard, kale, fresh lemon, and then wheatgrass. So it's not the most sweet or appetizing thing, but it's definitely nutritionally dense, full of antioxidants, high in your B vitamins. So it's a really good one. I should have had it probably earlier today, but this is the second thing I've eaten today or drank today. So this is kind of kick-starting my morning, or my afternoon, I guess, at this point. But yeah, it's one of those things, again, it's a mental game that you're going to play with yourself, and this isn't really so bad. I'm also having a little bit of fake coffee, i.e. caffeine tea, that tastes kind of like coffee, tricking my mind. A good thing when you're doing a juice cleanse is to have things like herbal teas, just because it does switch it up for you. So having something that's a little bit warm as opposed to just having the cold things all the time does help to sort of switch up the mundane, which will help you if you're trying to stay consistent, which you would be on a juice cleanse. So last night though, I finished work and I was meant to go for a run, super exhausted, not interested in doing that whatsoever. So instead I opted to go to a yin class. So yin yoga, for any of you who haven't done it, is a little bit more restorative. It's a 60-minute class. You hold your postures a little bit longer and it's not so intense. So I figured that was a really good way to go. And it wasn't so bad. But I was really fatigued. So that's one of the things some people do find when they do a juice cleanse. For me, fatigue. I didn't have a headache. I didn't have any other sort of side effects because for the most part, my diet's pretty clean otherwise. So just the general fatigue and being exhausted was kind of what I was feeling. So when you're on a cleanse, it's definitely one of those things you want to honor whatever it is that you're feeling and give yourself a little bit more time to take some time for yourself. So making sure that you're, deciding to do a juice cleanse, not when you've got a lot of shit going on, when you can take a little bit more time to relax and just sort of kick back, is the best way to make sure you're going to be successful with it. So I did the yin yoga, came home last night, and the juice that I was meant to have for dinner, I had to add some spirulina to it. That's another thing when you're pre-making juices, which is the easiest way to do. You usually have about a 24 to 48 hour shelf life for any of your juices before they start to get a little bit rank, and you're not going to want to have them. So I made the juice ahead of time, and then I left the spirulina on the side to add it to it as I was going to have it. But the juice was way too cold, and I added too much spirulina, so it was literally these nasty, horrible chunks of blue-green algae, and it was putrid, absolutely putrid. I blended it, still didn't make it taste a lot better. Definitely a little bit too much spirulina. So that is one of those things that you might want to add to taste. And just be a little bit mindful when you're first starting to juice that it can be a little bit shocking that it's not nearly as sweet as you assume it's going to be, or not nearly as tasty. So I choked back that, and it was horrible. And that was about all I could stomach for my night. And then this morning, I was so tired at the end of my night that I just threw my work bag down, which I was substituting as a gym bag because my gym bag was with my running stuff in the car. So I left it on the floor, threw my yoga mat and my yoga stuff in there because I knew I was going to go to a class this morning, and I went to bed. Try to get a meditation in before you go to sleep. Another really great way before you go to sleep, especially if you're detoxing, is to lie on your back and put your legs up against the wall at a 90-degree angle. That actually does help induce sleep and relaxation, and it gets all the blood rushing back towards your heart center, which is a good way to end your day. So I did that, went to bed, got up this morning, and I went to yoga. And literally grabbed my shit, went to my yoga class, didn't think too much about it, put down my yoga mat in the class, threw my towel on, went and I got changed. So then I went back into the class before it started, and the lights are really dark. Just, straighten out my towel, lie down, and I was lying there for a few minutes, and I felt something really itchy on me. I was like, okay, whatever, let it go. Lying there for a few more minutes, teacher comes in ready to start this class, and I stand up to start this class, and I look down at my yoga mat, and there is like 8 or 9 ants on my mat, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, what the fuck? Well, it turns out that me leaving my work bag on the floor that has all of my work stuff in it, like almonds and cashews and Brazil nuts, the bag was open, and apparently it attracted some ants, which I didn't know. So when I picked up my bag this morning that I'd thrown all my yoga stuff in and threw my mat down, there was ants in the bag, and therefore there was ants on my yoga mat. And so when I started this class, I literally couldn't concentrate because I'm looking down trying to like kill the ants that are now on the floor and crawling all over the mat. This teacher is looking at me wondering why the hell I'm not participating in what she's doing, because I'm too busy trying to kill the ants that I can see like circling around and wanting to die because I was like crazy embarrassed. And then I couldn't concentrate for the rest of the class because I just felt itchy. Like every second I felt like there's got to be an ant or something on me. It was horrible. It was such a hard class. Another thing you're not really supposed to do is rigorous exercise when you're doing a juice cleanse, but I just wanted to see if I would feel fine. But to do a 90-minute hot yoga class in a 110-degree room didn't really agree with me. And feeling itchy the entire time made it so much worse. I got out of the class after. The teacher's like, how was your class? I was like, yeah, it was hard. It was a tough one. So that's something you might want to be conscious of. Number 1, don't leave your bag on the floor with open nuts inside. And number 2, maybe avoid the rigorous exercise if you're doing a cleanse. So those are 2 things you should definitely not do. So take that as a lesson from me. Things you should do though, if you are cleansing, like I said, you should try to plan as best as you can to make some time to do a couple days worth of juicing, because it is a little bit time consuming. So if you do have a good juicer, you can do 2 days worth, sometimes 3. Your 3rd day juice isn't going to be awesome, but if you need a time saver, it's definitely something that you can do. And like I said, if you're adding anything like spirulina or wheatgrass or any kinds of powders to your juices, leave that until you're actually ready to drink the juice. Otherwise it gets really gritty and not nearly as appetizing because it's been sitting. So definitely something to be considerate of. Another thing that you should do while you're juicing is dry brushing. And I've mentioned this before, how important that is. But taking a dry brush and starting from your fingertips down, going all the way to your heart center, from your feet down all the way to your heart center, is the best way to stimulate your lymphatic system, which is also going to help to move toxins, and that's what you're going for. So that's just an extra way to kind of kick it up. Like I said, adding things like Milk thistle or dandelion root tinctures to your water will also help to stimulate cleansing your colon. There are certain teas that can help you, like senna tea is something that you can get that will help to help you detox. A bit of caution if you do go looking for a senna, it can act as a little bit of a laxative, sometimes with a little bit of cramping. So if it is something that you're considering doing, make sure that you leave yourself time where you're not going to have to be anywhere, because if you do have to go out somewhere, you can feel very uncomfortable, and it can be a little bit painful. So I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way for it. A lot of people like to start their day with a salt water, a glass of warm salt water, which is going to induce not so great feelings in your stomach, but this is going to help to help eliminate toxins. It's not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart for sure, but it is something if you want to intensify your detox, that is a way that you can go about doing it. So these are just some things that you can add to a juice cleanse. One more thing that's really important to note, just like you can be a vegan and be overweight, you can do a juice cleanse and gain weight. And the reason that that happens for people is because they opt for fruit juice. So I'm not saying not only don't do a juice cleanse with, you know, your Tropicana nonsense that you're going to buy in a store, but also even if you're juicing at home, if you're juicing predominantly fruit, that's still sugar. And even though it's not a sugar like a Twix bar is a sugar, it's still sugar, and it's going to turn into fat in your body, and your body's going to store that. So be really mindful when you're juicing that your juices should be nice and green and full of vegetables primarily. Maybe one of your 4 juices a day could be something that's a little bit more fruit dense, but make sure that for the majority you are going something that is vegetable based, because the whole point is you want to detox your body, fill it with those nutrients, but you don't want to add way too much sugar. Otherwise, you're not going to have the results that you necessarily want. So that's a good way to go about it. Of course, like I said, I'm feeling a little bit sluggish, which is pretty natural for your first couple days of a cleanse. Usually going into your 3rd and 4th days where you're really going to start to see a shift in your energy, and depending on how long that you're doing the cleanse, you'll find more energy, clearer skin. But like I said, just make sure that you're taking the time to really honor where your body is and how you're feeling. So if you're feeling fatigued, get more rest. If you're feeling like you have a headache, drink some more water, because your body is going through a lot of detoxifying effects, and everybody deals with it a little bit differently. But don't be afraid. Just make sure that you are taking proper precautions and you're giving yourself lots of time to do good things for yourself. So go get a massage, go get a facial, do something that feels really good, that's good for your body, that's gonna just kind of enhance the way you're feeling, and know that everything that you're doing is awesome. It's incredibly challenging and it's hard for most people, but you're gonna feel amazing from it. The results are phenomenal. They're great for your skin, they're great for your health, they're great for your digestive system. It's just an all-around really good feeling, and I definitely challenge you to try it out. It's great to try it with somebody else to have that motivation. So, you know, if any of you are interested at this point and you want to come on and do a couple days of a juice cleanse, let me know, because I'd be happy to give you a little bit of guidance and direction. But either way, those are just kind of the things that have been going on so far. And I'm gonna pound back this green smoothie of awesome nutrients and hopefully not have any more ants on my yoga mat. So fingers crossed. Anyways, have an awesome night, and I will talk to you soon.